Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unleashing Potentials podcast. Today's special guest is Elizabeth. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm happy to connect with you today and to hear more of your story.
Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to share my story with your audience. I'm very excited about being able to provide a little bit of hope and
Yeah.
help inspire people to not give up
Yeah.
despite the challenges before them.
Yes, I love hope. I live through hope and for hope. I love it. Yeah. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
My name is Elizabeth Meigs. I am an inspirational speaker,
Mm.
motivational coach, as well as a holistic wellness coach. I have been working as an occupational therapist with my degree for the last 12 years,
Mhm.
and I am just excited to be able to share my
Mhm.
story of my ups and downs that I've been through to be able to inspire and motivate people to not give up.
I love that. Take us back. When did your story start? What was your childhood like and what have you been through?
I was a beautiful 14-year-old girl. I was going after my dreams. I grew up in a small town in rural southeast Kansas. We
Mhm.
had horses. I had been singing and performing since the age of 7. I
Mhm.
was very popular. I played every sport, very active. My life was easy.
Mhm.
I had been taking voice lessons since the age of 7. My voice teacher saw my gifts and my talents and had actually got me into a recording studio in the spring of my 8th grade year
Wow.
because she knew that I was going to go places with my voice. I
Mhm.
was known for my voice.
Mhm.
So, my plans as soon as I graduated high school was to make it big on the country music stage.
Wow.
But then 1 week into my freshman year of high school, my whole world was turned upside down.
Mhm.
We were traveling to the movies on a rural 2-lane highway in southeast Kansas when all of a sudden we were struck from behind. This sent our vehicle into a tailspin, which then proceeded into a barrel roll multiple times until we finally landed in the field on the opposite side of the highway. With every roll, my head was at the point of impact.
Mhm. Wow.
EMTs arrived at the scene. I had to be cut from the vehicle and then resuscitated multiple times before they could transport me to the rural hospital. The
Mhm.
rural hospital, of course, was not equipped to take care of my medical needs. So I then was life flighted to the nearest trauma center an hour and a half away by car. I had suffered a traumatic brain injury.
Oh my good.
Once Yes. Once my family arrived at the scene, they would get a very dim prognosis, less than a 25% survival rate. And
Mhm.
the neurologist basically said that I would need to be placed in a drug induced coma to allow my brain and body the best chances of healing because my brain was swelling rapidly. The pressure was 5 to 6 times the normal cranial pressure.
Mhm.
And the doctor said putting me in the coma would give me the best chance of survival.
Wow. You've been through quite a lot. Oh my
Yes,
goodness. Yeah. How old were you when the accident happened?
14.
Oh wow. And you were so young.
Yes, so young. I was chasing after my dreams. I knew I was gonna go places with my singing voice, but once I came out of the coma, I remained in the coma for 3 weeks. And
Mhm.
once I came out of the coma, I was essentially reduced to that of an infant. I couldn't sit up on the edge of the bed by myself. I
Mhm.
had lost all of my strength and my muscle mass. So therapists would get me in the recliner by my bed for 30 minutes and I would sleep the rest of the day.
Mhm.
I had to relearn how to do everything.
Wow.
I wouldn't be able to speak a word for 43 days. Oh. Then my voice was just a whisper. It would be months before I could speak in full sentences without my voice cutting out.
Wow. That's a lot to go through. And I'm just honored and inspired by your story. And I'm sure you're helping so many people overcome the impossible because you've been through it. During well, after the accident, during your healing journey, what were some things that helped you overcome the things that you were going through?
It would be 3 months before I made it back home and back into school, going through the rehab. Of course, when I was going through the rehab, I didn't realize that I was no longer the same girl that I once was.
Mm, yeah.
It wouldn't be until I was back in school that I realized I was not that same person. My friends' lives had gone on, and I was having to concentrate on therapy every day of the week. Schoolwork was so much more difficult.
Mhm,
Once I was back in school, my friends were still playing the sports we all loved, going
mm,
out on the weekends, working their part time jobs.
mm,
None of them seemed to have time for me, nor did they seem to care if I was around. That's what I perceived. So, multiple times I would come home from school, multiple times a week for the next 4 to 5 years, and tell my parents that I should have died. I wish I was dead and I want to kill myself.
mm,
I dealt with judgment. People would see something physically wrong with me because my left side was affected due to the brain injury. So it would be years before I could extend my arm and open my fingers without prying my fingers open. People would see something physically wrong with me, and if they didn't know me before the accident, would decide that I wasn't worth their time.
mm,
It was heartbreaking.
yeah.
But what got me through this time was the voice in my heart saying, I have a plan for you. You
Mhm,
can't stop. You have to keep going.
mhm,
I knew it was the voice of God because it brought me an overwhelmingly amount of comfort and peace.
mhm,
I Every night before I went to bed, no matter what had happened that day, I
mm,
went to bed with a thankful and a grateful heart. I would pray to God, thanking Him for my life and thanking Him for my blessings and asking Him to lead me and help me to make the right choices so that I could help those He placed in my path.
mm,
I knew that I had to be for someone else what I needed in that moment. If
mhm,
I could have spoke to someone who had been through what I was going through when I was going through it,
mhm,
it wouldn't have been a magic bullet, but it would have helped me so much.
mhm.
And I didn't have that. So I knew that's what I needed to be. And that was my purpose.
Yes, yes. And I'm so grateful that you followed that still voice in your heart, and that you went through and you continue to go through, because your story is a beacon of hope for so many. I'm inspired because
Thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Because our pain and trauma can help us grow and evolve. And I can tell you've done so much healing and work. You continue to do all the work that you're doing. So I thank you too.
I just feel so very blessed. I honestly, if you're listening to this today, I want you to think about the challenges that you're going through. So many times I wanted to give up. I was left broken, shattered in pieces on the floor,
Mm,
but I decided to make the choice to keep going, to turn to God and ask Him to be my strength, to
mm,
ask Him to help pick me up. And I'm going to tell you that He was always right there beside me every step of the way.
mhm,
He's right there beside you too. He
mm,
just wants you to ask Him for the help, and I promise you, He's going to carry you through just as He
mm.
has for me.
Yes.
When I think back about everything that I've been through,
Mm,
more recently, I've been pinching myself because what I'm doing and what my mission is, what I'm passionate about, what God has blessed me to be able to do is so much greater than anything I ever could have dreamt or imagined for myself. And it's so rewarding.
Mhm.
So when you are struggling with the challenges, when you keep going and you find it in your ability to grow through those challenges, you're going to be unstoppable.
Yes, yes, I agree. Yeah. What are two of the many things you've had to face to be where you are today?
The judgment, the people not deciding that I wasn't worth their time, that was the most difficult one. Um,
Mhm.
Early on. It would get better as the years went on. Once I got into college, I
Mhm.
my physical deficits weren't as noticeable, so people didn't judge me quite as much. I still had difficulties because people would, when I would talk or they would see my face, they would, "Oh, you had a stroke," and some people would decide that, "Oh, she's had a stroke. She's young. Uh,
Mhm.
she's not worth my time." But many people, when they see my outside or they get to know me, they see my heart and
Mhm.
then they see my value.
Mhm.
Um, the judgment was definitely one. Trying to figure out what God's plan was for me. I
Mhm.
always knew I had a purpose, but it took years for me to figure out what that purpose was.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you that even though we want it in our time, we're usually not ready in our time. It took the learning through my challenges and facing my struggles and hitting them head on and growing through them to make me the strong, confident woman I am today so that I was ready for it when it was God's time.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that God's time is so much more perfect than our own.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And sometimes when we're in the midst of our pain and chaos or trauma, speaking from experience, I can say it can be so hard to find God, let alone know that there's a God that exists to let you go through what you went through. Yeah.
Exactly. There has been so many times that people would ask me, "How can you turn to God when He did this to you?"
Mm.
But I'm going to tell you right now, things happen in this world. This world is constantly changing. There's different circumstances that people go through.
Mhm.
God didn't do this to me. It's something that happened.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's working through it and deciding to turn to Him and asking Him for the help, then He's going to be there to carry you through. He's going to be there to protect you and to give you the strength to keep going. He didn't do this to me, but He was there to guide me and lead me and to pull me out. You're
Yeah.
never going to be tested more than what you can endure.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I remember having the same question. What kind of God allows people to go through what they go through? And someone told me God is not the source of my anguish or pain. He doesn't inflict it. At times he
Right.
does allow it just so
Right.
we can witness his power, his glory, that he reigns
Yes.
and can do anything. Sometimes we have to face the impossible to believe in the possible, if that makes sense.
Exactly. If I've learned anything,
Mhm.
things seem impossible and like you can't get through them.
Mhm.
But with God by my side, and if you turn to Him and consistently choose Him first,
Mm.
I'm going to tell you right now, by doing that, you can turn that impossible into I'm possible.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was there ever a time that you lost faith in God, or you were mad at God or angry for what you went through?
Early on, frequently, time and time again, I would throw myself down on the floor, screaming at the top of my lungs, crying, beating my hands into the floor, saying, "Why, God, why? Why did you do this to me?"
Mhm. Mhm.
But the voice that was in my heart brought me comfort and peace, much more comfort and peace than anything I had ever felt before.
Mhm.
And that was my answer. He
Mhm.
didn't do it to me, but he was there beside me to pick me up and carry me through and help me to grow into the strong, confident, independent woman that I am today so that I could be his messenger.
Mhm. Mhm.
He loves us all. One of my favorite worship songs is Reckless Love of God.
Oh, mine too. Mm.
His love for us is so much stronger than anything of this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's chasing you. He
Mhm.
wants you to turn to him.
Mhm.
So many times we turn to worldly things to bring us comfort and peace
Mhm.
that ends up coming back to bring us agony or pain or just not feeling good.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
He is the only thing that can bring you the comfort and peace and freedom that
Mm.
I've been able to have. It all came from him
Mhm. Mhm.
because I chose him and continue to follow him and ask him for the help and ask him to lead me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that song, by the way. I was just looking it up. Yeah. I might sing it today.
Yes, that is my
Yeah.
all-time favorite worship song because his love is so reckless,
Yeah.
but it's bigger than anything. It's an unconditional love that we just can't understand.
Yeah. 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 Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me.
For me. Yep.
Yeah. You have
You have
been
been
so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathe your life
your
in.
life for me.
You have been
You have
so,
been
so
so good to
to
me.
me.
Yep.
Oof. Got chills from
Yes.
that one.
Yes.
Just the words and the powers in the story. My goodness. I can see why you love that song. Wow.
Yes. We all have chains
Mm,
that are holding us back,
mm,
but it's when you can learn to let go of the things that are out of your control
mm,
and let God have those things because He's the one that's in control.
mm. Yeah.
That's when you're going to find your peace and your freedom and be able to face any challenge that you
Mhm.
ever come across.
Yeah, yeah. During your healing journey, did you struggle with depression, anxiety, or anything? Yeah, yeah. What
Yes.
was that like for you?
It was the most difficult thing that I've ever had to face because it's like a never ending cycle of you're not good enough. Um, I would mess up, and the voice in my head was always telling me I was stupid. I was an idiot. Why did I do that? But as I reflect now on that, I
Mhm,
needed to make those mistakes so that I could grow through them to become who I am today.
mhm,
I want to tell you right now that if you hear those voices in your head saying that you're not good enough, you're an idiot, you're stupid, just as I did for so many years, I want you to do your best to shut them down. And
mhm,
I want you to hear my voice in your head saying that I believe in you. I know that you have everything within you to make your goals and your dreams a reality. You can't stop. You have to keep going
mhm,
because they're in your heart for a reason.
mhm,
God has always spoke to me through my heart and by putting things on my heart,
mhm.
and I've always known that they come from him and
Yeah.
that if they're on my heart, they're there for a reason. And I have everything within me to make them come true, but I can't stop. I'm telling you this, it's the same exact thing for you. I
Mhm,
believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself right now,
mhm,
take my belief
mhm,
and never forget it.
Mhm.
always hear my voice saying that I believe in you and I know you can do this.
Mhm. Someone needed to hear that. Thank you. I needed to hear that. I need all the love and positivity I can get.
Yes,
Thank you.
positivity is so important.
Mhm.
Um, what you focus on grows.
Mhm.
So when it feels like you are being hit from every angle with nothing but negatives, I
Mhm.
encourage you every night before you go to bed
Mhm.
to pull out 3 positives from your day.
Yeah.
Now, in the beginning,
Mhm.
it may be hard to
Mhm.
come up with those 3 positives, but I promise you, as you continue to do it each and every day, what you focus on grows. You're going to see more and more positives. I want you to say to yourself that I'm a survivor, I'm an overcomer, I can do this.
Yes.
You are worthy.
Mhm.
You are strong enough to face all of the challenges that you're currently facing.
Mhm.
When you wake up in the morning, I want you to think back about those 3 positives.
Mhm.
As you begin to do this, you're going to be able to take those challenges and those things that feel negative, and you're going to be able to shift them
Mhm.
to be positives. I
Mhm.
promise.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of positive, tell me some of the success stories you have with the clients you work with. Well, some of them, or a few.
I in 2019 I came across some holistic wellness products that have truly given me my life back after suffering my traumatic brain injury. I
Mm,
like to call one of them my hope in a bottle.
mm,
It's CBD oil. My
mhm.
hope in a bottle has helped me with so many things. There were so many years that I would only get 2 to 3 hours of halfway decent sleep, some nights not getting any sleep at all. And within 3 days, I was sleeping good all night long. One of my clients, Barbara, had been unable to make a fist with her hands for over 4 years. And
Wow.
she asked me about my hope in a bottle. And I recommended the topical treatment as well as the oil.
Mhm,
Within 1 week, when I checked on her, she says, "Well, I have hope. I'm able to make more of a fist, and
mhm.
the discomfort is getting better, but I'm not there yet."
Wow.
After 1 month, I checked on her because she worked at the same hospital that I worked at. I checked on her and I said, "Barbara, how are you doing?"
Mm,
She looks up at me with tears in her eyes and says, "Beth, you are my angel. I never dreamed I'd be able to do my job and no discomfort at all, and I'm doing it. Thank you."
wow.
It's so many people don't realize that there may be natural solutions to be able to help them with things that they've been suffering with for
Mhm.
all of their life.
Yeah.
I dealt with no sleep. I had to have 4 foot surgeries on my left foot. I knew when the weather was changing for over 15 years.
Mhm,
I've had multiple eye surgeries,
mhm,
just mood and everything. So
mhm,
many of my solutions that I'm able to help my clients with, people have no idea that there is a natural solution that may
mhm.
be able to give them their lives back.
Yeah.
I was able to regain my life using my natural solutions, and every client that I am able to help using these natural solutions are so much more of a blessing to me than any of the benefits that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. What are some other holistic approaches and things that you've used?
The positivity,
Mhm,
focusing on the positive,
mm,
affirmations,
mhm,
speak them every day, believe them, believing in yourself.
mhm,
That's a big one. It's hard, and you're going to go back and forth to where some days it's easy to believe in yourself when it's easy. And
mhm.
on those days when you see nothing but negative, it's going to be a little bit harder, but I still want to encourage you to believe in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking,
Yeah.
talking to God, prayer was a big one for me.
Mhm,
When I didn't have anyone to talk to, so many nights I would pray to Him and cry myself to sleep, just let Him know what was on my heart.
mhm,
Even though He does know, It's the fact that I chose to turn to him and let him know what was on my heart. That's what
Mm,
he wants.
yeah,
He
yeah.
wants you to turn to him.
Hmm. Hmm. And to humble ourselves. I've had to humble myself too many times, right? To
Yes,
realize that I'm not my own. I don't own myself. I'm not the cause of what happened to me. And I dealt with shame, guilt, blame, self-hate, all
yep,
of it, all of it.
yes,
Yeah. And the thing is,
yes.
society doesn't help. When you were saying,
No,
the things you face, how people saw you, here's my take on it. People are gonna always have an opinion. Does it have to become our reality? No,
no.
we can welcome it. And by welcoming it, it can transform how we view life and our perspective on things.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes. I'm going to ask you the next time you're faced with judgment or something like that,
Mm,
before you react, take a step back,
yeah.
breathe, and think.
Mm,
Your reaction is what is in your control. Their opinion of you is not within your control.
mhm. Yeah.
It was hard and it took me a lot of years to realize that the people that are going to judge me, I
Mhm,
don't need them in my life. They are not for me.
mhm.
So find your tribe. When you find the people that see you, believe in you, and lift you up, those are the people you want to keep in your life.
Mm, yeah.
It took me a lot of years for me to be able to find that
Mhm,
and feel like I was in a place where I finally belonged,
mm,
because I had people in my life that were more than just my coworkers, people that I hung out with and that were family after work.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What Once you find them, they're so valuable. Don't lose them.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say find your people, find your tribe, because not everyone that comes in our lives are meant to stay. And
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Some people are just a season. Everyone that comes into your life, I believe there's a reason for. Some are going to be lessons. Some are going to be able to help you to get where you need to be. And
yeah.
then some are people that you are meant to help.
Hmm. Wow, that hit me.
So be open. Be
Yeah.
open to the possibilities.
Hmm. Hmm. And for so many of us, it's so hard to accept change. None of us like change, but it is in those season of change that we can allow ourselves to transition into beauty.
Yes, this world, I hate to break this to you, but this world is constantly changing
Mhm,
and nothing's ever going to stop that. So I was able to get through it by developing the strategies that have helped me again, time and time again over the
mhm,
years, that have become habits that I've developed and learned to use and that I use on a daily basis over and over again.
mhm.
These strategies have brought me my peace and my freedom.
Yeah.
I encourage you to find the strategies that help you to feel the best.
Mhm.
Take care of yourself. Self care is so important.
Yeah.
Having someone to talk to.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. When did you discover that you wanted to do what you're doing right now?
In 2016,
Mhm,
I had been in Waco, Texas for a little over a year.
mhm,
I had friends that I worked with that I loved and they were great, but I didn't really have any life outside of work.
mhm,
So I started doing online dating.
mhm.
Little did I know that God will use any means necessary to get you where you need to be.
Yeah.
It was July of 2016. I was on an online date when I was invited to a church in China Spring, Texas.
Wow.
Now, I had heard of China Spring, but I had no clue where it was at. I even think I had driven through it being unaware that it was actually China Spring. So I never went.
Mhm,
Then in November of 2016, I ended up moving to China Spring. And every time I passed the church, which would be multiple times a week for about 3 months,
Mm,
I would see the person's face who invited me, couldn't remember his name, and still didn't see God pointing me to that church.
mm,
So it was the last Friday in January of 2017. I was in Walmart at about 6:30 a.m. buying cooking ingredients to do a cooking checkoff with one of the patients where I worked.
mm.
When, as I am walking away from the cash registers to the first set of double doors to leave, I hear a familiar voice talking to the cashier behind me.
Wow.
I had no clue where I knew the voice from, but I had to turn around and see who it was.
Yeah.
It was the gentleman who had invited me to church. So I slowed down, waited for him to catch up.
Mm,
He recognized me too. We chit chatted out to our vehicles parked right beside each other.
mhm,
On Saturday morning, I messaged him in the dating app and let him know that I had yet to find a church I felt at home at, but
mhm,
I had been church hopping for the entire year. So he invited me to the second service and said, I'll introduce you to all my friends.
mhm.
It's the chili cook off. It was that church that got me to sharing my story on a much bigger level, more than just with my patients at
Mhm.
the hospital.
Wow.
2 weeks after I joined that church, I learned that they had to celebrate recovery.
Mm,
It's for anyone with any kind of a hurt, habit, or hang up.
mhm, mhm,
It's more than just substance abuse, it's depression, anxiety, grief, loss, whatever you're dealing with. It's for everyone.
mhm.
That is what got me getting up on a stage and sharing my story to a room of people.
Wow.
So many times after I shared, people would come up to me and say, Thank you. Your story gives me so much hope.
Mm,
One night, a woman come up to me and said, Beth, I wasn't going to come to church tonight, but something was telling me that I needed to be here. I know now that that was God. I needed to hear your story. Thank you. It gives me so much hope. That's when my eyes open and I realized getting up on a stage and sharing my story with people, I'm going to be able to help so many more people than in
mm,
my regular 9 to 5. And as I have continued to go through the years,
mhm,
God has placed the people into my life
mm.
that can help me to get there. And begun to open more and more doors to get me to speaking and sharing my story on a much bigger level. And I'm just so thankful and grateful for that opportunity.
Wow. Well, I'm honored to have you on my stage to speak to me and my audience. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And I thank God for you. I always pray, for God to bring people like you to this platform to show people that there is a God, first of all, and there is hope, and that this is not the end. Our pain and circumstances, it's not the end. It's a bump on the road, but it's a learning curve. So thank you.
Yes, yes. That's one of the things before I'm ever interviewed or before I get up on a stage to speak, I
Mhm,
always pray and I ask God, I said, okay, God, you know the audience, you know what they need to hear. Give
mm,
me the words that they need.
yes.
And so many times I've veered off because he gave me the words that needed to be spoke to that
Mm,
specific audience.
yeah.
And I just feel so blessed
Mhm.
to have been chosen by him to be his messenger.
Yes, yes. And what would you say to those who are struggling right now with anything, really?
If you're struggling, don't give up.
Mm,
I have learned that it's in my struggles that lets me know that I am on the right path because nothing worth doing ever came easy for me.
mm,
I had to power through and struggle through a lot for any of the things that I'm so passionate about. So
mm,
keep fighting, don't give up. And just remember that these struggles and these obstacles that are set before you, they're set before you because you are on the right path and you can't give up. Keep fighting. You got this.
yeah, yeah. What is the meaning of life for you, Elizabeth?
The meaning of life. So God gave me a heart to want to help. I
Mm,
want to help anyone and everyone that I can.
Mm.
Over the last 12 years since I started working as an occupational therapist, I'm just amazed that God continues to place the people in my path that need me as either a therapist or need to hear a piece of my story because I can give them hope.
Mhm.
I want to continue to inspire and provide hope for everyone who feels lost, who
Yeah.
feels like they aren't worthy to keep going, that they aren't worthy of God's love.
Mm.
That's the enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are worthy. You are worthy of everything your heart desires. And
Mhm.
whatever's on your heart,
Mhm.
that wants you back. So keep fighting and keep going after it. Don't give up.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Where can my listeners find you, support your work?
You can go to elizabethinspires.com and you will find all of my social media platforms:
Mhm.
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Mhm.
I have a free strategy right up here that you can actually scan the QR code.
Mm.
This is one of the strategies that I had to develop. So if you are struggling with daily stresses and daily challenges and powering through those,
Mhm.
download that strategy on your phone so that you can look at it anytime you're struggling and start working with it to help pull you through. You can also print it off and put it wherever you need it most.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
wouldn't be here today if I hadn't developed those strategies.
Yeah.
I am in the process of creating a 30-day course to teach my strategies.
Mhm.
Stay tuned. Look back at my website. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Mhm.
As the course develops, I will be posting about it. And if you're interested in joining me for that course, I would be so blessed to be able to help you and teach you the strategies that I had to learn going through the darkest moments of my life.
Wow. I love that you have a plan. Wow.
Yes,
You're gonna be
I
teaching others of that and how it helped you.
I'm just so very blessed. This last year, God has really given me a lot of clarity, and as I reflect back on the last 23 years of my life,
Mm.
I see why certain things had to happen because
Mm.
they were crucial to get me where I am right now, sharing my story with you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, Elizabeth Faunan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for coming on my stage and installing hope in me and my audience.
Oh, you're so very welcome. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It
Mhm.
was such a pleasure, and I feel so blessed that our paths crossed.
Yes.
And I wish you all the best of luck with your podcast and continuing to inspire so many people.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm.